Life can sometimes feel like a calm, beautiful river. You float along, enjoying the sunshine and the gentle breeze. But then, without any warning, a storm can hit. The sky turns dark, the winds begin to howl, and the waves crash all around you. This is what happened to a wonderful woman named Maria. She had a life filled with simple joys. She had a cozy home, a job she loved, and a family that was her entire world. She woke up every morning with a heart full of gratitude for these blessings. She believed her life was set, a path of happiness stretching out before her. She never imagined that everything she held dear could be taken away so suddenly, leaving her standing in the middle of a storm she did not see coming. The first blow came when the company she worked for closed down. Maria lost her job, the one she had dedicated years to. It was a shock, but she told herself she was strong and would find another one. Then a bigger storm arrived. A terrible fire swept through her neighborhood, turning her lovely home into nothing but ash and smoke. She stood there, watching the flames with only the clothes on her back. All her memories, her photos, and the little things that made her house a home were gone forever. She felt a deep sadness, a hole in her heart that seemed too big to ever fill. But the greatest loss, the one that broke her heart into a million pieces, was yet to come. Tragedy struck her family in a way that is too painful to describe. In a short amount of time, the people she loved most were no longer with her. She was suddenly all alone in the world. The silence in her life was deafening. There were no more family dinners, no more laughter filling the rooms, no more comforting hugs to get her through the day. She had lost her job, which gave her purpose. She had lost her home, which gave her shelter. And now she had lost her family, which gave her love. She had absolutely nothing left. It was the kind of loss that could break anyone, the kind of darkness that could swallow a person whole, leaving them lost forever. Many people in her situation would have given up. They would have surrendered to the pain and the despair. It would be easy to become bitter, to ask the universe, why me? It would be understandable to build a wall around your heart and never let anyone in again. The world would look at you and say, of course she's broken, she lost everything. But Maria did something different. She did something truly extraordinary. In the face of unimaginable loss, standing in the rubble of her life, she made a choice. She chose not to let the darkness win. She chose to find a tiny spark of light, no matter how small, and hold on to it with all her might. After losing everything, Maria found herself in a homeless shelter. The room was crowded and the air was thick with sadness. Every face she saw carried the heavy weight of a difficult story. You could feel the hopelessness in the air. People kept to themselves, lost in their own pain and sorrow. It was a place where smiles were rare, a place where hope seemed to have died. Yet, in this sea of despair, Maria was different. Every morning she would wake up, take a deep breath, and put a smile on her face. It was not a fake smile, but a genuine one that came from a deep place of strength inside her. It was a quiet promise to herself that she would survive this. Her smile was like a small candle in a very large, dark room. At first, people did not know what to make of it. They would look at her with confusion. Why is she smiling? They would whisper to each other. Doesn't she know where she is? Hasn't she lost everything, just like us? They thought maybe she did not understand the gravity of her situation. But Maria's smile was not about ignoring the pain. It was about choosing her response to it. She knew she could not change what had happened to her. She could not bring back her family, her home, or her job, but she could control her own spirit. She could choose to face the day with grace instead of anger. This simple act of smiling began to change things. It was a silent message of resilience. Her smile said, yes, life is hard right now. Yes, we are hurting, but we are still here. We are still breathing, and that means there is still hope. Slowly, other people in the shelter started to notice. Her consistent positivity was like a gentle rain on dry ground. It started to soften the hard edges of their own despair. A tired mother who hadn't smiled in weeks found herself smiling back at Maria one morning. A young man who had given up on finding work saw Maria's hopeful expression and decided to try one more time. Maria's courage was not loud or boastful. It was a quiet, steady strength. It was in the way she carried herself with her head held high. It was in the way she looked people in the eye and offered a kind word. She showed everyone that even when you have lost all your material possessions, you still own your spirit. Your attitude is yours to command. You can choose to be a victim of your circumstances, or you can choose to be a warrior who rises above them. Maria chose to be a warrior, and her smile was her shield and her sword. fighting back against the darkness one day at a time. Even though Maria had nothing, she found ways to give. She understood that you do not need money or possessions to be generous. True generosity comes from the heart. At the shelter, the meals were simple and often not enough. But if Maria saw someone who was older or sicker than her, she would quietly share a piece of her bread or give them her portion of fruit. She would say, "You need this more than I do." It was a small gesture, but it was filled with so much love and compassion. She showed everyone that even when you have very little, you can still find something to share with others who have even less. Her kindness was not limited to sharing food. Maria had a gift for listening. She would sit with people who were feeling sad or lonely and just listen to their stories. She would not interrupt or try to solve their problems. She would simply offer them her full attention, making them feel seen and heard. In a world that had made them feel invisible, this was an incredible gift. She would offer simple words of advice, not as someone who knew all the answers, but as a friend who cared. She would say things like, "Take it one day at a time," or "Be kind to yourself. You are doing the best you can." Her words were like a warm blanket on a cold night. Maria looked for opportunities to help in any way she could. She would help the shelter staff clean the common areas without being asked. She would read stories to the young children whose parents were too tired and stressed to play with them. She would help older residents fill out forms or read letters they could not see well. She never thought, "I have my own problems, I can't help anyone else." Instead, she believed that helping others was the best way to heal her own heart. By focusing on the needs of those around her, she found a new sense of purpose. She was no longer just a person who had lost everything, she was a person who made a difference. Her actions taught a powerful lesson to everyone at the shelter. They saw that even in their poverty, they were not powerless. They started to follow her example. People began sharing what little they had. They started talking to each other more, listening to each other's stories, and offering words of encouragement. Maria had started a chain reaction of kindness. She had transformed a place of isolation and sadness into a community of support and care. She proved that your circumstances do not define your character. It is the love you give, even when you feel you have none left, that truly shows who you are. Maria's smile and her endless acts of kindness did not go unnoticed. Her spirit was so bright that it began to inspire the entire community. The staff at the shelter started talking about her. They told stories of her generosity and her unwavering positive attitude. Soon, local news reporters heard about the woman who had lost everything but still found a way to give. They came to the shelter to interview her. Maria, with her humble and gentle spirit, shared her story. She did not talk about her pain or what she had lost. Instead, she talked about the importance of hope, kindness, and human connection. She said, "Your smile is a gift you can give to anyone, and it costs nothing." Her story spread like wildfire. People were deeply moved by her strength and resilience. Donations started pouring into the shelter. People brought food, clothes, and supplies. Volunteers came to help, inspired by Maria's example. The community came together, wanting to be a part of the positive change she had started. Maria had become a symbol of hope. She showed everyone that one person with nothing but a positive spirit and a giving heart can change the world around them. She reminded people of the goodness that exists in humanity, a goodness that sometimes gets lost in the rush of daily life. The most beautiful thing was the change within the people Maria met. She inspired them to look at their own lives differently. People who had been complaining about small problems felt ashamed when they heard her story. They started to appreciate what they had. People who were feeling hopeless found a new reason to keep going. Her life was a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most devastating tragedies. She taught us that happiness is not about what you have, but about what you give. It is not about avoiding storms, but about learning to dance in the rain. The lessons we can learn from Maria are simple yet profound. Life will have its challenges. We will all face loss and hardship at some point, but we have a choice in how we respond. We can choose to focus on what is gone, or we can choose to be grateful for what remains. We can choose to be consumed by darkness, or we can choose to be a light for others. Maria's story is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, a smile, a kind word, or a simple act of sharing can make all the difference. She teaches us that true strength is not about never falling. It is about getting up every single time you fall and helping others get up too.